My purpose in this item is to try to bring before the commission in a fairly concise way of the work that is in progress at the staff level of an enormous and I think very, very important nature. I just feel that it's part of my job while I'm here to be sure that the commission spends as much time on major policies like this as you do in going over and improving on contracts and things like that. The job of the commission is, all encompassing, and our economic development initiative here is a huge and serious policy thrust. And I just want to be sure that the 5 commissioners are aware of the ingredients here and approve of our going in this direction. I mean, the mayor is urging us to do so, but I think the one, if I might be so bold as to say so, the biggest mistake that this organization has made in my lifetime is when this solar plan went on and on and on. It didn't come to this commission just a couple of years ago. The staff has no business pursuing something with policy implications without the commission being briefed on it, aware of it, and approving it. And so I've taken the initiative myself of summarizing the work that's underway and making sure that you have a fairly concise summary of it and are aware of it, and without necessarily at this stage of the game passing judgment on every detail of it, to be sure that you're aware of and kind of give us the feedback of go ahead, work these things out in greater detail and come back to us with the details. I mean, the ingredients are summarized right here on the first page. They are the bread and butter of economic development, as utilities, especially throughout the South, have practiced it over the years successfully. I personally go back to the mother of all this, which was the Tennessee Valley Authority. The TVA region was the most depressed region in the country when TVA was enacted in '33, and green collar jobs were invented by Franklin Roosevelt in the TVA. We harnessed the Tennessee River for flood control, navigation, and hydropower, and low-cost electricity brought the various industries into the area, and now it's a very prosperous part. But the utilities in the South have always been at the forefront of economic development, and this utility is we tried to get started 10 years ago, and then kind of didn't continue. The mayor is extremely interested. His new chief of staff and the others agree that there isn't any other place in the city that has got the opportunity we have. I mean, if you think that we're rebuilding this power system from fossil fuels to renewable, and in the process can generate a sizable number of jobs, if we don't really focus on the jobs part as well as the rebuilding, it won't happen. So the preference that you just approved is a integral part of it. With the idea, public power has always tried to attract rates. When I ran the New York Power Authority, we had a Juice for Jobs program. We had a special program. We sold electricity to aluminum plants and people that use a lot of electricity for 1 or 2 cents a kilowatt hour in exchange for X number of jobs. And we followed up, and they didn't keep getting the power if they didn't keep the jobs. So it was a direct Juice for Jobs program. Here we're suggesting a rate discount for people that come in. This city has the highest taxes, the highest property taxes. We don't have a whole lot to offer companies. Here is a chance to offer something. A loan fund for small business, you know how hard it is to borrow money nowadays. If we could have some skilled person manage it and have 25 or $50 million of loans to expanding small businesses, it could make a significant difference.
And I neglected, never gave consideration to whether or not this land could be used, not sold off, but used to bring a new business in to develop that wouldn't have to have a land cost, or that would have some other type of an opportunity, as we see is happening now in other parts of the city where the land is being provided.
In a sense, I guess I'm asking for something more. I don't think that LADWP has ever considered itself a full-blooded public power entity. Economic development goes to the deep into the DNA of public power. It goes to the heart of why the city should own its electric system rather than the Edison company or some private company. And so I guess what I'm asking this commission to think about is you give a green light to this, that this is not some extra chore or some new expensive thing that we need to do, but really goes to the reason why the city owns its own power system. And perhaps you want to think about that pretty deeply, because I think that's what, from what I gather, the mayor and his new people want to see this agency become, and I think it's what we have always been. I mean, it's the low-cost electricity that's been at the heart of LA's economy for a long, long time. And but we've had such wonderful weather out here, and people have, you know, I grew up with California, here I come. I mean, everyone's always wanted to just come here. You haven't had to hustle for business like we had to in the South. And now we're at a point where I think we need to hustle for business here in LA. We got 250,000 unemployed people in the city. And as many folks seem to be leaving it with jobs as they are coming. So I would think that it would be appropriate for us to rev up this part of our DNA and really go for it. And that's the presentation that we're making.
I saw it was in this packet, so I just feel like the purpose of the Economic Development Committee would be to offer support and, you know, some other ideas if there are any to be had through our committee process, and then bring it to the.
It's not detailed programs that you're approving. This is a concept, and I thought it was appropriate for the whole board to participate in thinking about this.
I think we have a motion that is going to be made that approves in concept these principles and requests that the department work with the Economic Development Committee in further developing these and any other programs that might be beneficial or helpful for economic development. So there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing and seeing none, carries unanimously. And I think, Mr. Freeman, I think what you're hearing from all of the commissioners is that we do see this department as more than just a revenue collecting and water producing entity. With the dollars that we take in and the product that we make, we can make a difference if we are aggressively out there attempting to in job development and during these economic times. And I think every one of us that goes along with and supports you know, that type of course of action for our department, as eloquently stated by Commissioner Sales a moment ago. So now we'll move on to